Céad Míle Fáilte. My name is Cleanna, Business Development Manager for Nua na Mara, a dedicated marine innovation development centre. On today's Innovator Insight, we have Ewan McAsh. Ewan is a CEO and co-founder of Oyster Farmer, formerly Smart Oysters. Ewan was an oyster farmer for over 16 years in Australia. While working on his farm, he quickly realised that he had created an environment where he was the only person who truly knew what to do and when to do it. In 2017, Oyster Farmer, originally Smart Oysters, was founded with the goal of getting the farm out of the farmer's head and ensuring that farm management was digital ready. Let's hear more about this innovative company from Ewan. Ewan, Céad Míle Fáilte, and welcome to Innovator Insight. So here at Nua na Mara, we like to highlight marine-related innovation. When I first came across your profile last year, I was really impressed with your ability to identify a problem on your farm, and while looking for a solution, that you identified a gap in the wider market where you could both solve the issue on your farm and then apply it commercially to help others. So before we get started on your business journey, can you tell me about how you got involved in aquaculture and oyster farming?
Yeah, sure thing. And g'day. Thanks for having me on the podcast. I'm new to farming. I mean, I've been farming for 16 years, but I grew up surfing and living on the south coast of New South Wales, a bit below Sydney. But I had an interest in the ocean, and I went to university and became a marine biologist. And after that, I had an interest in the ocean and growing seafood. So I went and worked in shrimp farms and prawn farms, but it was actually my father's idea he suggested one day that we go oyster farming. And I thought it was a great idea. I thought, oysters are sustainable. They grow naturally in commercial quantities in the rivers. The area where we lived was a beautiful, pristine area, great for growing oysters. So without much thought, and probably a bit naively, we just bought an oyster farm and started farming.
With no prior experience?
No, not at all, no.
Wow, that's great. And I suppose, did you find any help? Was there any useful resources there locally or by the government that helped you along the way?
Yeah, sure. It was, the truth, so the story is that I went, and as a young guy, I was 24, I went and looked at the farm that we're going to buy, and I seen the older couple that were running it, and they seemed to be making okay money. So again, being young and naive, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to work twice as hard and make twice as much money, and I'm going to grow this enormous oyster empire. So sort of jumped in and started farming, working 7 days a week, learning off other people. Yes, there was government resources and I wrote a business plan, but ultimately I found myself like a decade into farming where I learned how to farm, but I was working very hard and ultimately found out that I was, after a decade of farming and learning how to farm my particular patch of oysters, I was the only one that then knew how to run the farm, and that became a real challenge.
Yeah, so that, I suppose, is the issue that you came across while farming that led you to, I suppose, the business that you have today. So when you came across that, oh God, I'm the guy who knows everything, I can't delegate any tasks. What were the initial steps that you took to try and address that main issue?
Yeah, so over that decade of farming, you're right. Like, I became the guy. I couldn't go on holidays. If I did go on holiday, it was quite stressful. I had to work really hard and then, hope that everything went well. And then when I came back, work even harder to understand what was going on at the farm and get back on track. But over that time, we went from having fairly old Nokia phones to smartphones. So I could do video calls, I could do emails, I could do everything from my phone. And so at the time I went looking for a solution. So the first step was to go and look for another solution and how could I run my oyster farm using my phone.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't anything out there, and that's why we started making those steps to actually create Oyster Farmer.
Yeah, okay. So tell me a little bit about your first business solution, Smart Oysters, which is now rebranded as Oyster Farmer. So tell us all about it and how, I suppose, it can help other farmers.
Sure, I can backtrack a little bit and say that, when we did look for other solutions of how people were running farms, they tended to be database solutions. And you know what? Even if they were in the cloud or on the phone, that was the same solutions that were provided for farmers when they had desktop PCs. They're very clunky, standard, like basically asking the farmer to standardize what they were doing. With Ocean Farmer, learning from my experience of using those sort of programs and trialing them, I knew that the application itself had to give immediate value to the farm. And so what we did is we looked at what's the secret sauce of farming. So farming, whether it's oysters or seaweed or mussels, is knowing, where your product is, what it is, and when you need to go back and harvest it or grade it or treat it for biofouling. So, and that's the trick of farming is you're battling the wind, the weather, the tides. You need to prioritize daily, even hourly, what you might be able to do in any given time. What we did with Ocean Farmer is actually created a GPS application. We map the farmer's lines, whether they be oyster lines or mussel lines or seaweed lines, and we allowed the farmer to navigate around their farm, dropping pins, recording inventory information and scheduling tasks. And then that way we could actually capture that unique farm IP, that understanding of what needs to happen next. We could capture it in application, and then it's easy to share. Then you can go on holiday. Then you can spend less time out in the water. You can be very targeted in what you do. And what farming tends to have a reputation, and it certainly was for me, to be very chaotic. Like lots of things happening and never really understanding what you can do. But with Ocean Farmer, you can actually get it under control and feel in control and really actually go from good to great with your farming business.
Yeah, fantastic. So really it offers a solution to busy farmers if they want to delegate and kind of organize their farms, that this solution really tracks it and it's quite personalized.
Absolutely. So whether you're a farmer, whether you're a new farmer and you're learning quite quickly, it helps you record what you're doing and then therefore understand what worked or what didn't. If you're an established farmer that just wants to go on holiday and wants to make more money with what you've got, and it helps you be more efficient and optimize your time. But if you're like me and you're trying to build an oyster empire, it actually helps you scale. So since I've been able to bring this sort of technology onto my farm, we've doubled production, we've increased our profitability, and I've been able to do that and actually hand off my farm operation. So now I can actually spend full time actually promoting the Ocean Farmer app while my farm makes more money and produces better product than it ever did when I worked 7 days a week.
Wow, that's fantastic. And to think that you're a marine biologist and a farmer and now you have a technology company. How has it been to migrate from physically at sea to now owning your own technology company? Were there any pitfalls or major learnings for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a great journey, and yet it is a bit like farming. You're always learning. It's always changing. So, what would be the pitfalls? Well, I think that one of the dangers of being an entrepreneur and being innovative is that you create these solutions. I created a solution to solve my problem on the farm, but now I have to go and commercialize it. I've got to travel the world selling it to other farmers in order to make a business of it. So it's exciting, and you never know where it's going to lead you, but it is one of those challenges. So by solving the problem on my own farm, I've then created another job for myself.
Fantastic, but something that's really worthwhile and I suppose would be quite useful for aquaculture farmers here in Ireland and certainly further afield. So looking at the future for Ocean Farmer, what's ahead for you guys? New innovation, different, I suppose, technology, or targeting new markets?
Yeah, so one of the really exciting things we're doing with Ocean Farmer is, and it's one of the biggest pain points for all ocean farmers, is actually finance. So what we're actually building now is a product, a data-driven product, so that you can access finance to grow your oyster farm, your seaweed farm, your mussel farm, using your farm assets and your stock inventory, and be able to demonstrate, or de-risk your operation, demonstrate that you're actually a great farmer, and therefore attract finance. So you don't have to put the house up, you don't have to go and talk to the banks. We really want to make again, make impact by helping the great farmers scale up their operations, produce more nutritious seafood, capture more carbon, capture more nitrogen, and help restore the ocean's ecosystems. And we can do that with technology. So that's probably, I think, probably the most exciting things is that the farmers that are using Ocean Farmer, we can now lean into them and actually help them grow their production and make their business bigger and better.
Wow, fantastic. So it's nearly full cycles. There's farm management and now there's a financial access kind of element to it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're building like a full operating system for the farm and then looking to actually help finance the farms and help them grow.
Wow, fantastic. And has there been any particular company or program that's really helped you along the way? I understand you have quite close ties to Hatch Blue. Is there any other kind of helpful resources that you could pinpoint some other farmers or entrepreneurs looking at you going, wow, I'd love to do something like Ewan, who was an aquaculture farmer and now is, I suppose, CEO and entrepreneur of a tech company?
Yeah, absolutely. And back to your point about what were the tricks and tips of actually creating something. When I was a farmer and I'm a marine biologist and now a software technology company, it's about bringing people around you, finding the people that are experts in their field, bringing them around you, and helping them build the company. So the Hatch program was fantastic in terms of helping me understand how big the business could be and the next steps I needed to take. So never stop networking, meeting people, and surrounding yourself with those people that have the expertise that you don't.
Yeah, fantastic. And consultancies, I guess, to bring in to help bolster your business plan as well. Fantastic, Ewan. So just to recap, your Ocean Farmer app is applicable to seaweed, oysters, and is it mussels as well?
Yeah, so at the moment, Ocean Farmer is focused on oysters, mussels, and seaweed, but we can also do clams as well, and we've done that for many farms.
Okay, fantastic. Great stuff, Ewan. Thank you so much for taking the time to have a chat with us today, and hopefully this isn't the last that we see of you, and we'll see more of you promoting your product here in Ireland, hopefully, and further afield in the next few months.
No worries.
Gur míle maith as Éist le Ewan. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Innovator Insight. I hope you found Ewan's interview of benefit. To remind you, Dhuine is a dedicated marine innovation development centre based in the Comhlachtaí regions of Ireland. We aim to support marine companies, SMEs or individuals with business ideas in the marine sector to develop their concept to commercial reality with various supports along the way. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos and to our mailing list to hear about upcoming events and news.